And this guy has a U-Haul truck that he rented and shows up at 8 o'clock at night and delivers the flex duct at night under the cover of darkness to my house, and my HVAC guy had to pay him cash. So we finally decided to just rent this thing under the table to her sister's friend who looks very similar to Becky. Same height, also has a small little black dog. So we rented it to her friend at first, and then there was a whole shakeup on the HOA board. Actually, the HOA board got sued for fraud. Turns out there was an old boys club. People were approved to rent, but they were not renting their units and just holding their spot and not letting other people have it. So then all the board people got fired because there was a lawsuit. And anyways, all of a sudden, magically, they called us one day and they're like, "Oh, you can rent this place out." And we said, "Oh, great, that's awesome." And then the next day, we sent them a lease. We had it leased out in a day. Imagine that, right?
What? I mean, we had a waiting list.
This is the fastest,
worked great.
Fastest tenancy ever. So anyways, but it had a pan and it leaked in the air conditioning one day, and I had replaced, over the winter, I had replaced all the floors in the place, pull up all the carpets and put bamboo hardwoods in this whole place, of course. I walk in one day to change the air filter out because whoever installed this furnace, like, you had to remove the closet door because it was too far over and the door was in the way, and I wasn't going to make my tenant have to remove a closet door to change an air filter out. Normally I make my tenants change the air filters out, but I didn't want her to have to do it, so I would go over there every 90 days or whatever and just change the filter out. So I go over there and I walk in and I see all the hardwood floors like buckled in the kitchen, and I'm like, "Oh no, we have water in there." I immediately knew there was water in there. And so I started pulling up the flooring. Water, turns out it was the air conditioner, drained into the pan. The pan was tilted back just a little bit, so it was draining out the back of the pan down the wall.
Just enough to not trip the switch?
Well, there was no switch. There was no safety switch on it. So then we put a safety switch on it. Safe T switch. It's a T. And the pan didn't have a switch either. So we ended up installing that, and it was fine, but we still had to file an insurance claim, and water got to the downstairs unit. So we had to fix some drywall in the lady downstairs and the condo downstairs, and we had to replace the hardwood floors, and we had to replace a bunch of stuff, dry the place out for like 3 days, and that was a learning experience. So if your furnace doesn't have a shut-off switch on it, highly recommend. And put a safety switch and a pan switch.
If you're in the living area. The nice thing about this furnace was, I mean, now it doesn't sound as bad. It was an unfinished basement.
Right, there you go.
It just got leaking. But you don't want to... No, it's really hard to sell a house when...
Buyers are like,
"Why is it leaking?" And I had already waterproofed this basement, which those floors are hilarious. Anyway, that's off topic. But we finally, I think it was we didn't even get asked for it in inspection. And I, on the last day, was like, I can't with a good conscience sell this. Now, this was back when furnaces we're talking 2018.
Yeah, that was in the good old days.
I did a furnace, I think I did
like $4,000.
Probably. I won't tell you what I actually did it for.
Yeah.
It was $1,000.
Well, just you bought the furnace. You got it from somebody.
Or maybe it was $1,500.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a buddy of mine install it.
Right.
Brand new furnace.
That was in the good old days.
Yeah, that was back when stuff was cheap. Yeah, I could do a furnace and AC back in the day for $3,500.
Yeah, last furnace I did this past year was like $8,000.
Yeah, 75 or 78 was the last one I did.
Yeah,
and then you couldn't get HVAC 10 and.
Oh yeah, when we were doing the my HVAC contractor got delayed on this house because we couldn't get enough. We couldn't get flat. I told you that story.
Yeah,
the flex duct. My HVAC guy searched around everywhere for flex duct. This is when we had a flex duct shortage because that was when all the shipping containers, because a lot of the flex ducts made overseas in like China and stuff, comes over here. There was like literally shipping containers and container ships full of flex duct stuck in like Long Island, in the port of Long Island, and they couldn't get in.
That's right.
And so there was a huge flex duct shortage. So my HVAC guy finds a guy to get him flex duct. And this guy has a U-Haul truck that he rented and shows up at 8 o'clock at night and delivers the flex duct at night under the cover of darkness to my house, and my HVAC guy had to pay him cash.
Yeah.
For the
all your flex duct was in like 3 to 9 foot sections.
No, it was like it was legit. Like
he had just cleared a bunch of construction sites of all their excess.
I don't know how he got it, and then we didn't have enough boots for the registers.
Boots were
we were 4 boots short. So actually, we had to go ahead and do the rough-in, and then when the inspector came to do my rough inspection, I said, look, we couldn't get enough boots. We will have them for final inspection. So we had just left the pipe stubbed out there, and then when we got the boots finally, the inspector was cool, and he finally checked it off on final inspection, but we were like 3 or 4 boots short of all the HVAC boots in his house.
Those are the ones where you look at the inspector and you go, I promise you, I want these as bad as you want me to have these.
Right. I can't get them.
I will install them properly when I have them.